Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Audiobook Club. We're so lucky to be once again joined by author and CEO of Pro Audio Voices, Becky Parker Geist. Becky, welcome back to the show. It's a pleasure to get another chance to chat with you. How are you today?
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here. Always fun. So I really appreciate your time and the chance to share some exciting stuff that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's such a pleasure to have you back with us once again. So, I know there are so many exciting things happening right now at Pro Audio Voices. It's difficult to know where to start amongst all the excitement. So, to half save myself, may I pass over to you to fill us in on everything you and Pro Audio Voices have been working on?
Yes, I'm just going to focus on this one really
Yeah.
big thing because I really recognize what a game changer it is in the indie publishing and audiobook publishing worlds.
Mm,
Um, and that is our Amplify program. Amplify is essentially a way for authors to sell their audiobooks direct and at the same time to have a great listening experience for
mm,
for the customer, the our listeners. And that's happening essentially through the combination of many different technologies, but a piece of it is including a listening app called Amplify. It is very close to roll out. We're super excited
yeah.
about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic. I can't wait to find out more. So, focusing more on Amplify and the distribution aspect of it, the royalties can be a little bit confusing, can't they, for
They
indie
can.
authors? So, for example, on other distributors, they offer a certain percentage, but that's often a percentage of a percentage, isn't it?
It is, and that is, there are a lot of things going on with that. There is in the industry a
Mm,
lot of, well, let's just say, not enough transparency, not
mm,
enough real clarity, so that indie authors who are learning to navigate a very complex world,
mm,
um, they don't even often know what questions to ask. And
mm,
so they'll look at a number that, let's say, a digital distributor puts out,
mm,
and they'll take it at face value with an assumption that they're not even realizing they're making. The
mm,
assumption of what's that a percentage of?
mm,
So if it looks like a high percentage, oh, I'm getting, 70%, but of what? Right.
yeah.
And that's where I feel like so many authors are misled into understanding what their royalties are actually going to be.
Mm,
And then they get their royalties reports and go, hey, wait a minute. I thought it was going to be a whole lot higher.
yeah.
And, and so that frustrates me.
Yeah.
I'm very engaged in the independent publishing world. I've been president of Bay Area Independent Publishers Association. I still am. It's, for I think I'm in my ninth year now. And I see this pattern of what's happening in the industry. So
Yeah.
just to dive a little deeper on that royalties question, because it
Yeah.
matters so much to authors, is, for example, if you're told 25% by Audible,
Mm,
you're going to get 25%. Okay, well, of what? Of
mm,
whatever they choose to sell it for, whether that's they choose to give it away or they set the price, whatever.
mm,
Um, and they have some factor in some mysterious factor that they apply to that. And so you really don't know what you're going to get paid. And it's
yeah.
almost always less than you hoped for or
Yeah.
expected. And then sort of on the upper end, we look at like Findaway Voices has a program that I think is I'm very pleased that they're offering it.
Mm,
It's authors direct, and that's great. But there again, they say, we'll give you 70%. Okay. And then you read the FAQs and you find out, well, no, actually, it's 80% of 70%. Okay,
yeah. Yeah.
come on. Can't we just be straightforward,
Yeah.
But I'm still glad that they're offering it because it is better
Mhm.
than, most of the others. But we're trying to really turn this whole approach to who gets paid the most from an
Yeah.
audiobook sale on its
Yeah.
head, right?
Yeah.
We want the authors, the content creators to be the ones who are earning the most from the
Yeah.
work that they have spent usually many years and a lot of
Mm.
money getting
Mhm.
to the point where it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's about giving back control, isn't it, to the as you say, the authors and the content creators.
It is. It is very much that. One of the other challenges that authors have, and I want to also sort of circle back to these. I'm speaking very much from the author perspective, but these
Mhm.
do also they matter to the listener as well. So I want to sort of come back to that. But
Mhm.
the lack of control also goes much deeper. Um, with Audible, authors don't have any option to even suggest a
Mhm.
price. Audible just decides what they're going to sell it for.
Yeah.
Um, and even though and pricing is one piece,
Mhm.
right? But most of the time, it is very challenging to be able as an author to say run a promotion with your audiobook because you have to get some retailer to help with that,
Yeah.
to coordinate and cooperate with that, and most of them just don't want to bother.
Yeah.
It's There's no way to get to them.
Yeah.
Um, if you want to, let's say you want, free copies for your reviewers, that's a challenge.
Mhm.
There are options. You can go through NetGalley and I do recommend that, but it's not, you don't have a lot of control over that.
Mhm.
And then even like, let's say you're doing some event and you want to be able to offer a discount to all the people who attend your event.
Mhm.
Yeah, you can't really do that
Yeah.
in general. So what we're trying to do is like give this kind of control back to the authors so they can really, there's a lot of authors out there who are actively trying to market their works and let their, help their target audience find them,
Yeah.
right? But it's a real challenge right now.
Yeah. Absolutely. So one of the many things that you don't get from a platform such as Audible, and the like, is that the ability to sort of engage with your listeners, to connect, to see, to to let them know what's going on. Is
Yeah.
there anything that Amplify has to answer that?
Yes, absolutely. That's another piece that, when authors have an audiobook that sells or a book, really any
Mm,
content that sells, for example, through Amazon,
mm,
um, they have no idea who bought it. So there's no way to reconnect. And yet, that's really valuable information. Of
mm.
course, those retailers know it's valuable, and so they hold on to it for
Yeah.
themselves. They can market whatever they want to, and
Mm,
to, they're trying to sell you things that maybe you're interested in, maybe you're not. But when
mm,
there's an author, a real person who's written this book and you love it,
mm.
it's so great to be able to then reconnect, to stay connected, to re-engage. It's like
Yeah.
community. We're
Yeah.
building a community with our authors.
Yeah.
I mean, they're real people, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that also sort of lends itself to why it could be so good for listeners as well, because you can,
Yes.
they can connect, they can keep tabs on their authors, they can be keep updated for their authors. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can not only find out what else other titles that they may have that might be of interest to you, I mean, some authors are also coaches or have other kinds of services that may be of
Mm,
value to you to help you in whatever it is that you're doing or you're wanting.
mhm,
I think about as an audiobook listener myself, I
mhm.
would love to hear from the authors that I am fans of. You
Yeah,
know, and I sometimes I have trouble even just finding a website for them
yeah,
because they're hidden inside of a publisher's website and there's no
yeah,
access as like, major gatekeeper.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So we care about the people who are writing the content, the people who are listening to the content, and we're trying to create this really great experience
yeah,
for both.
yeah. Fantastic. So, for authors who, this may sound of interest to, for listeners who this may sound of interest to, where do they start getting to know a little bit more about this? Where can they learn a little bit more?
Yeah. For authors, right now, the best place is to go to Pro Audio Voices and look on the marketing menu. There's a
Mhm.
drop down for Amplify. And and for listeners, that will become also the best place. Since we haven't rolled out the app yet, we're just so close,
Yeah.
but that's going to be the best place. We're going to do a series of webinars that are going to just introduce kind of how it works,
Hmm.
and we'll have initially those are going to be for authors, and and then we'll also offer some for listeners as well. Uh, One of the cool things I just want to say for
Yeah.
listeners, in addition to being able to have that community
Mhm.
aspect. So let's just say if we look at Audible, I mean they're the easy example.
Yeah.
There are like thousands and thousands of audiobooks in there.
Yeah.
Um, and that's that's cool. Um, Many of them are poorly done. I'll just,
Mhm.
I think that we could probably all agree on that.
Yeah.
Um, and so there is a fair amount of just wading through to try to find what you're looking for.
Mhm.
And if you, unless they're really driving, platforms that offer a subscription model are really trying to drive you into that subscription.
Mhm.
That makes sense, and there are benefits on both sides. But with the with the Amplify program, you're going to be able to purchase books at a lower audiobooks at a lower price
Mhm.
because the authors themselves are going to get the largest share of that
Mhm.
price. And what that means is that then they're getting supported and getting what they need without having to raise the price so high,
Mhm.
right? So there's a lot of calculation that goes into what an audiobook will cost a consumer.
Mhm.
With Amplify, the price will be able to be lower and still provide the author actually with a lot more than they would
Yeah.
get if they were somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, like, we've had, because we all like to buy direct, we all like to, if we're going to purchase, an artist's work,
Yeah.
we'd like to go straight to the source. And we've mentioned before these, these like Etsy and Bandcamp and all those sites like this. So, Amplify
Right.
really is sort of filling that gap for in the audio sphere.
It is. We're creating a platform that allows that direct sell more
Mm.
easily. And here's where some of the challenge has arisen in being able to create that platform
Hmm.
is that for authors to sell direct from their own websites, it's not a good customer listener experience
Mm.
because you end up with just downloading a set of audio files and then they're not packaged well,
Yeah.
right? So and they don't bookmark where you left off, all kinds of issues
Yeah.
around those challenges.
Yeah.
So then how does an author deliver an audiobook directly? See, that's where the challenge has been. And that's where we're meeting our authors is saying, okay, we want you to be able to sell direct. We're going to
Mm.
create an app and a platform that will allow you to do that.
Do you think that this type of thing not being available, before is one of the reasons why being an indie author, being a full-time indie author is so difficult right now?
I do. And I think that there's been, as being an indie author is still fairly new. We
Mm.
think about, well, it used to be you'd have to get published by a big publisher in order to have your book out there in the world at all,
Yeah.
right? And I think that as the trend of indie publishers, uh, that has risen, that we're still right now kind of stuck in that model of the big guys get all the money.
Mhm. Yeah.
The big guys get the biggest share. And that's where we're trying to make a real change.
Mm.
Um, so I think that it makes sense if I look at, like, historically where we've come from and how
Mhm.
long we've been in this model. And,
Yeah,
there's this proliferation of both digital distributors
yeah,
because they see, oh, there's profit there, right?
yeah,
And retailers because, hey, there's profit there. Okay, but what about the content creators? They
yeah.
don't have that same platform support.
Mhm.
And and again, that's what we have just seen such a need for. And I've wanted to
Yeah,
do this for years, and we just haven't been in a position until now. And
yeah,
between the growth of pro audio voices in combination with the technology app development
yeah,
world, and
yeah,
what's
yeah.
more available, things that are easier to do, all of that now is coming together into this very exciting moment.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
absolutely. And so this Amplify ties right into all the work and the offers that the services that you offer for marketing as well.
right.
Before we sort of go into that, I'd just like to ask a very well, I think it's a simple question.
Yeah.
Why is helping authors with their marketing so important to you and Pro Audio Voices?
Well, I feel like, again, we spend as authors, we'll spend years, so much of our life energy
Mm,
into creating this written work.
mm,
And for that to just go out and nobody finds it
mm,
just feels so wrong to me. It's like
yeah.
there is an audience, and marketing is not about like convincing someone to buy something. Marketing, ideally, and the way we think about it
Mm,
is helping authors and their potential audience, the people who really actually are looking for that content, to find the ways to connect because
yeah.
they're out there. It's like finding the right words, finding the right platforms.
Yeah.
It's tricky because there's so much information in front of us every day.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things, so an author, puts their heart and soul into a piece of work. They get that made. They get an audiobook made. They have the audiobook. They distribute it through Amplify, but then it's now time for the marketing. What can they do? What does Pro Audio Voices offer in terms of, to guide for guidance on their
Yeah,
marketing?
we have several options, and they've been built out of seeing what authors are asking for and what their needs are, and putting together a range of different programs that
Mhm,
will meet those needs. One of the base level things is we can help create audiograms, just these
mhm,
mini videos, that then you can use in social media marketing.
mhm,
We also have, and this is excited that we've just recently rolled out something called marketing membership. It again comes back to community in
mhm,
many ways. It's the support of having regular calls, with
mhm,
experts and other members of the community, and
mhm,
cheering each other on and getting ideas, and sharing our challenges, and getting solutions. So,
mhm,
yeah, and even just like discovering the places where if we put some attention to that thing can
mhm.
make a big difference for us.
Yeah.
So it's combining that and then also a kind of do it yourself, work at your own pace kind of modules that we've developed over and with your help developed over the years. And then it also includes this DIY marketing module portal that allows authors to go in and sort of work at their own pace
Yeah.
and but know what to do, because
Yeah.
I think that is one of the big challenges that for many authors is like, okay, what do I do next?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's so many avenues, isn't there? There's so many social media platforms. There's new things coming all of the time. So
Yeah.
so if you're per se someone who is not is kind of new to the sort of social world and maybe it's not their sort of forte, could they still benefit if you're a complete beginner? Could you still benefit from this membership?
Yes, absolutely. And I think it works very well in that way because you can get the guidance and tutorials you need to set up
Hmm.
whatever platforms are going to be the ones you want to focus on.
Hmm.
And you can also, if they're not the ones you're going to focus on, you can work your way, go right through those and
Yeah.
onto the pieces that you do need. And then, just to also, in addition to that marketing membership that we've rolled out recently, that was actually pulled out or pulled from our larger audiobook marketing program,
Mhm.
which really it just takes it up, a big
Yeah,
notch in terms of having a custom marketing blueprint
yeah,
and, researched social media hashtags and keywords and like
yeah,
who is at the center of your target market? What are they
yeah,
like? So that you really
yeah,
know who you're speaking to when you're out
yeah.
there. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask a question which may seem a little silly at the start, but I think, why is it so important for those who, marketing isn't their forte? Why is it so important for them to get in front of an expert, to learn about these keywords, to be sort of given and guided through a blueprint? Why should somebody seek that out?
Well, because it's as I said earlier, with all the information that is in front of us,
Hmm.
it can be challenging for both sides of the equation. So the authors trying to reach their readers,
Hmm.
the readers trying to find their authors that are delivering that kind of content that they want.
Hmm.
It can be hard for them to connect. They're out there
Yeah.
like searching for each other. How
Yeah.
do I find you? And the readers, listeners are putting in different search terms, trying to find
Yeah.
the next book. And if the authors don't know what those search terms are, they're not going to be able to find each other. Helping the finished product, the audiobook, be able to reach
Mhm.
its listener and to have the impact that it was designed to have. Out there and nobody finds it. That's so sad. That's so tragic. It's like,
Yeah.
no, we want your people to find it because they're
Yeah.
looking.
I think that's such a great point, because it's not just about getting it out there to as many people as possible. It's about getting it out there to the right people, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where I think there's a lot of misconception, in
Mm.
marketing is this idea that you have to get it out to everybody,
Hmm.
just be in front of everybody.
Hmm.
You don't need to be in front of everyone,
Mm.
just those people who are looking for you. So,
Yeah.
how do you find them? And then it becomes a more manageable task. It's a little bit like, I don't know, hide and seek or something. If we think of it as a childhood game, of
Yeah.
like, well, we're trying to find each other. That's really what it's like.
We've mentioned community a few times, and the importance of community. Now, one of the examples that Pro Audio Voices offer to gather community is, of course, the monthly access calls, the coaching
Right.
calls.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit more about those coaching calls and what people may expect to find if they sign up for one?
Yes, yeah. So these are our small group monthly calls. They're an hour long. They're run by one of the experts on our marketing team, and they'll start off with, just providing some specific information about a particular topic.
Mm.
It could be, for example, how to maximize the use of your keywords
Yeah.
or hashtags, or it
Mm.
might be something like how to get more people to your website. A range of topics that are all going to be of value, right?
Yeah.
And then what I think of as a very very valuable part of that then is those questions and answers. The back and forth. The hey, I'm trying to do this thing on Instagram and I
Mm.
can't figure it out. There's something
Yeah.
I'm missing or I'm not getting the followers that I would like to, how
Yeah.
do I do that? And then getting some expertise thrown your way, you
Yeah.
know, and not even just your own questions. I think it's always interesting. We often learn more from other people's questions,
Oh,
even
absolutely.
than from our own. Yeah. So much value there.
Yeah, I think that one of the recent calls we had, and it was hosted by Todd, one of our experts, and he was doing like a deep dive analysis of some of our authors on the call, of their websites, and the amount of value that was in that call, taking the time to go through their specific customized website, making specific giving specific advice to their goals and aspirations, I thought it was worth just everything.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. I learned a lot from that call as well, and like on the next call with those clients, then just seeing the changes that they'd implemented,
Hmm.
it was so powerful. For example, you're presenting three buttons, three
Mm.
possible actions a person can take. What do we what do we want them
Yeah.
what would be the best thing, right? And
Yeah.
and presenting the buttons in a way that they actually know, like, oh, the best thing would be to go here. I mean,
Uh,
it just makes me
yeah.
think about, it's like when we're in the grocery store and we're trying to make a decision about something, and
Yeah.
if we have a if we have fewer choices to make in that moment, it's actually many times easier.
100%. I think one of the things was that I kind of sort of I thought it was similar to is if you're a writer and you're writing something, you obviously have that in your mind and you know the backstory and everything, and then you give it to somebody else and they can give you the feedback from somebody who's never seen it before. And I think a lot of people don't realize that you kind of have to do that the same sort of thing if you're making a website or if you're promoting something on social media, is that you know everything about your own, you know all the information about what you're trying to put out there, but then you need that fresh pair of eyes, and obviously it helps if they're a marketing expert in that specific field as well. But you need to share that with somebody who can sort of say, okay, but you need to clear this up, we need to know what you want us to do to go in there. I thought that was
Right.
just, yeah, I thought that was great.
Yeah, yeah. So helpful.
Yeah.
And I think that when we're in those small groups, on the
Mm.
calls, there is a wonderful intimacy about that. If you're on a webinar call and you've got 100 people, it's a very different experience than if you're in a
Mhm.
group with, like say 5 to 12 people, where
Mm.
everybody is learning, or you start to bond with each other,
Mm.
and you have that desire to help each other,
Yeah.
so we find, it's, oh, wow, I want to read your book or listen to your book. I want to,
Yeah.
there's more of that, and that's some of the really good stuff in life.
Yeah, 100%. I think as well, what community can do is a common sort of theme to find people that marketing, if you're not doing it right, or if it may be, as we said before, if it's not your forte, it doesn't seem like the most objectively fun thing to do. But when you're on them
Right.
calls with you in it together and you're hearing people's stories, it does help inspire you to keep going and to remember that message that you started out with of why you wanted to share that work, doesn't it?
Yes, it really does. We each have this sort of this fire of passion inside of us that is what keeps us going. And when you
Yeah.
sometimes it can be really hard, and it just
Yeah.
feels like, okay, I've got a few embers there, but
Yeah.
oh, it's hard.
Yeah.
So you get in with a group of people, you start talking about why you're doing your work, and it's just like, whoa, yes,
Yeah.
that that fire roars again. It's deep.
Would one be able to sort of ask it, get advice on the type of content to make as well? Because that can be quite challenging for people, can't it? If they're trying to consistently sort of post on social media, it gets to the point where you kind of think, well, I don't really know what to say. We hear people say, oh, I'm not very interesting. I don't really have a very interesting life, which of course is never
Yeah.
true. But
Right.
still, is there ever, is there a possibility, like either through those calls or through the marketing team, to sort of gain a little bit of knowledge of the type of content that people can create?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I do think there's a lot of value in that as well.
Mm.
And even like shooting a video and then like, I don't know, is this any good?
Yeah.
Getting that fresh pair of eyes, like you had mentioned before about the website, it's really helpful. And there are so many different types of content, so many
Mhm.
directions you can go. And it's not always easy to remember what your options are, especially
Mm.
if you like are doing this one kind of content, right? And then
Yeah.
go, okay, and I'm running out of ideas, or what else
Yeah.
can I do? And then someone can open that up for you and say, oh, yeah, you could do this or this or this or this. It's kind of like opening the window and letting that fresh air in when you've been working
Yeah.
so hard in your
Yeah, and no, absolutely. I think it also allows you to sort of change your outlook on certain things as well, and that's what you can gain from meeting with the community. So you may be a person maybe just sort of okay, I do newsletters. I'm not really interested in YouTube. I definitely don't want to do TikTok because I'm not into dancing videos. And then someone said, actually, no, it's not all about dance. You don't have to dance
Yeah.
to create that content, and then it changes your perspective on those things and opens up, broadens your horizon.
Yes, indeed, it does. Yeah.
Mm,
And just to let people know, those access calls are also just an a la carte option on our
mm.
website because again, we these have been developed over the years as we recognize what's most helpful to people. And
Yeah.
so we're trying to provide that because we want to have an impact in the world. We want to make a difference. The way that we do that is we help authors do that. It's
Mhm.
so rewarding.
It's also lovely to, I mean, for Pro Audio Voices can see the whole journey of so many stories. Especially if it's
Yes.
produced at Pro Audio Voices, you see that whole journey of the production side of things. You see it through the distribution side, and then you see it getting out to the listeners and enjoying it. It must be, yeah, it must be incredibly rewarding to follow along each step of that
Yeah.
journey for so many
It
projects.
it is. It's very, very rewarding.
Mm.
We kind of fall in love with our clients. So they're like, I mean, we think of them as family, and
Yeah.
uh, any way that we can help them, that's great. Yeah,
So the marketing membership, the audio marketing program, the access calls, they're available right now for people to check out and to sign up to.
they are. They
Yeah.
are. And I want to let people know also, so Amplify
Hmm.
is currently an existing and running program.
Okay.
There is, but we're about to do this big upgrade.
Hmm.
And so what we're doing right now is for the month of November, we're keeping the price where it is. You're going to have that price is going to go up when the app goes live.
Hmm.
And so I just really highly recommend if for authors who are listening and they have an audiobook, I encourage you to come to a webinar, learn more
Yeah.
about it, and you'll save a lot of money by
Yeah.
signing up early. The
Yeah.
solution that we have right now, just to explain, has been it's been okay. It's been good in many ways, but what we found was that the customer experience wasn't as good as we want it
Hmm.
to be. There's a lot more direct control that our authors are going to be able to have as well. So
Hmm.
it's a big upgrade to an existing program.
Yeah.
It's just going to be so great.
It's going to be tremendously cool and tremendously beneficial as well, the main thing, but also cool.
Yeah.
The,
Yeah, yeah.
so
And it won't cost anything for listeners to have the app. It's
yeah.
it's a free app and you'll know that you're going to get great audiobooks when
Yeah.
you're on the Amplify app. Yeah.
Yeah, and to know for them as well, listeners will be supporting in the best possible way their authors and the
That's right.
writers that they love.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once again, just to really hammer it home, if though, where can people find out more about this? Where can people check out the webinar or learn more about it? Where can they be directed to?
Yes, go to proaudiovoices.com, look in the
Yeah.
marketing menu, and go to Amplify. We'll probably also add something onto our homepage to get you there even a little bit quicker.
Fantastic. And you also just to add to that, all the links to the programs mentioned will be available in the show notes of this episode as well. So that'll be easy enough to find. Now, just as we sort of come to a close, I'd love to actually just talk very quickly about the Audiobook Connection podcast, because I think it offers
Yeah.
tremendous resources to authors, to people interested in production and things like that. Could you tell us a little bit about what people may find when they tune into an episode of Audiobook Connection?
Yes, thank you. So it's going to be a range of things. So we're doing a lot more interviews this year with
Hmm.
authors and other professionals in the industry to give insights on their particular area of expertise or
Mm.
on their audiobook production process, their experience with that, any
Mm.
challenges they found, things that were, surprises, because these are all really helpful for people who are just trying to figure out what's going to happen in the audiobook production world.
Yeah.
And we also have a lot of the episodes, especially those, we're at like 144 or something like that. So we have a lot of episodes now. Many of those are tips on production and marketing. Keep churning out every week.
There was
Something.
one, I think it was either the last one or the one before that, which was like a full breakdown walkthrough of how you produce an audiobook. And
Yeah.
it was just so refreshing and so well explained and so interesting. Even, I've been working in audiobooks for sort of 6 and a bit years now, but even I was like, this is so well explained. Like,
Oh,
this is so...
great.
So yeah, I would
Thank you.
highly recommend people go check that out.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, just as we finish off, is there anything else that you'd like to tell us, to direct us to, explore or share?
I just really want to encourage people to check out Amplify,
Mm,
and also to let others know. If
mm,
you are an audiobook listener and you know authors that have an audiobook, please let them know about Amplify, because this
mm.
is something that, really every author with an audiobook is probably going to want to know about. So we just want people to have the opportunity to step into that if they would like. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. If you enjoy someone's work and you would like them to keep being able to afford to make that piece of, those pieces of work,
Yes.
then share, share, share. Yeah.
Yeah. We always ask them, like, what's your biggest goal? And
Mm,
many of them say, well, I'd really like to be writing as a full-time job instead of doing, IT or reception work, or, any number
yeah.
of other things they're really just doing to bring in enough income. Most authors are not able to earn enough from their writing to really do that, even if they are really talented, even if they're
Mm,
really committed, it's still really, really hard. And
mm,
so Amplify is a step, and I hope that that other platforms in the industry
mm,
will see that as a move in the direction of supporting authors so that they can
yeah.
be career authors and move with us.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think it's about time that creative people did get, compensated
Yeah.
for their hard
Yeah.
labor.
Yeah. We want to abolish this term starving artist,
Mhm.
this assumption that, oh, well, if you're going to be a creator, an artist, then you're just going to have to go hungry. That's wrong.
Yeah,
That's just wrong. With some of the
yeah,
the greatest stuff of life
yeah.
comes to us through the arts.
I couldn't agree more, and I'm so looking forward to the relaunch and for the app, and yeah, just being a part of everything that's coming in the next few months. It's going to be so exciting.
Thank you. Thank you for this
Yeah.
opportunity to share this.
Oh no,
We're
thank you for coming on
we're
and sharing.
Yeah.
I think it's really important. That just about brings us to the end of this very special episode of the Audiobook Club. Becky, thank you so much for coming back on the show. It's been such a